Good evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, February 5th, 2022. And it's time for Prayerless Prayers. Alexa, cancel. It's actually 6:03 p.m. Let's take a few moments just to kind of quiet and get into a prayerful place. We pray for our leaders in government, our President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, and all members of the United States Congress. We pray for our governor in California, Gavin Newsom. We pray for all police, fire, and emergency personnel in San Mateo County, as well as the Human Services Agency, Department of Housing, and for all county workers. In South San Francisco, we pray for our mayor, Mark, and for all members of the South San Francisco City Council. In San Francisco, we pray for Mayor London Breed and all members of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. We pray for all those suffering through homelessness at the present time. For all victims of COVID-19 and COVID-19 long hauler syndrome. We pray for abode services and life moves, both of which help homeless people find, get into, and stay in housing. We pray for clergy suffering with addiction and chemical dependency. We pray for all ministries inside and outside of the church, for all clergy and all religious, and all lay leaders alike. Especially our Holy Father, Pope Francis, for Pope Benedict, for Bishop Mark Hanley Andrus, for Archbishop Salvatore Corleone, for St. Gregory's Abbey, Three Rivers, Michigan, for Hospitality House in San Bruno, for Sea Episcopal Church in South San Francisco and San Bruno, for the Diocese of California, for the Archdiocese of San Francisco, for Reverend Patrick Driscoll, for St. Veronica's Catholic Church in South San Francisco, for the Reverend Deborah Hawkins, for Bishop Louis Gelino, for St. Bruno's Catholic Church in San Bruno, and for the Reverend David Grant Smith, the new vicar of Sea Episcopal Church. I pray for my all members of my family. My father Alex and my mother Cheryl, Kara Masick, Erwin Rossmeyer, Joshua, Jesse, Ben, and Max, my brothers, Mark, Jesse, and Diane Darling, Bob Ottaviano, Anna and Theata Crumby, Jocelyn Gerard, Donna Brown, and Diane Carlson. As well as these members of my extended human family, Junior Irwin, Stuart Packman, Eric Mosnes, Keegan Forbes, Michael Nold, Coulter and Rhiannon, Richard Simmons, Jim White, Andrew Marmelstein, Dave Maloney, Keith Watley, Jimmy Harder, Michael Zorns, Tony Vucetich, Aaron Rogers, Ruben Padilla, Travis Carpenter, Kurt Berry, Larry Burdett, Janine and Mike Jones, TJ Hostomsky, Drunk Phil, June, Ann and Sam, Lou and Gina, Peter Steeler, Daniel Hudson, Clifton Barrett, Raul and Barbara Laborde, Mike Smith, Margie Burke and her family, Kyle Andrew Schofield, Laura and Lydia, Jason Hayes, Jack and Ramit and their family, Gino, Charles Ratcliffe, Chris Reinhardt, Dustin Keast, Norma Liedke, Matthew Russian, Tyler Davis, Daniel Fonseca, Michael and Corey, Ryan, Dean Varchetto, Pat Ford, Tina, Keith, Alexander, Matthew Mustashkin, Kevin Johansson, the Republicano family, Tyler Jordan Lowe, Tyler Smith, Charles and Kim Plyler and their family, Anita, David, Michael and his mother, Al, Cheeseburger, Kenny, Kendrick Rojas, Dylan, Charlene Myers, Jeffrey Marmelstein, Steve Buiza, the Pacific Family Medicine Clinic staff, Beth Lewis, Ken McCune, Bob and Mary Katz, Jen and Jesse, Steve Menini, Larry Lawton, Gabby Giffords, Jeff Henkel, Mark Zuckerberg and his family, John, Bill O'Reilly, Christopher Henning, Scott Akers, Debbie, George Jetson, Lil Kim, Gustavo Caldas, John Shuck, Greg Flowers, Rick Rivero, Andy Han, and Stephen and Bernadette Connolly. And last but not least, we pray for all those that have passed on from this life, inside and outside the faith and fear of the Lord. Especially the holy souls in purgatory and the church triumphant. As well as the repose of the souls of Howard Connolly, Christine Baker, the Reverend and Mrs. Fred and Cheryl Merrick, Nick Lee, Mickey McGee, Keith Lloyd, James, Dustin Rasmussen, John Judicki, Anita Rossmeyer, Phil DiMartino, Father Benedict Reed, Winfred and Marianne Johnson, Demetrius Fleming Davis, John Gotti, my grandparents on both sides, Jay Darling, Tyler White, Ron Popeil, Priscilla, Edison, Sean Bowman, Bob Dole, Betty White, Bob Saget, Harry Reid, Adolfo Caldas, and Bill Brown. I don't need that. I always do that because especially with the COVID stuff that I've got, I have things where I black out on stuff that I know. There are times like where I know the Latin Angelus Pat. I know the Angelus Pat. I've had times where I have blacked out in the middle of both and had to stop and look. That's why they are still up here at St. Peter's Shul. And by the way, that's another thing. Those of you that are only used to this ministry coming through video and not on Facebook do not know that this is St. Peter's Schule. I don't pronounce it with the way that, in German it's probably more pronounced like Peter Schule. But I don't do that. I'm you know what I mean? I anglicize it. It's Peter Schule. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Peter Schule. Oh, Peter. Like Family Guy. All right. So don't know that this is the addiction ministry at St. Peter's Schule, at the St. Peter's School. All right, and there's a whole thing to this. I'm not going to get into it right now. I have a thing. It's not that I just like repeating myself. I repeat myself all the time. But I always know, almost always know when I'm doing it, and I like to do it when I want to do it. If I don't like to do it, oh my God, you're going to make me mad if I have to repeat myself and I don't want to. So hence the problem with Comcast today. But that went, that ended up going. I bit my tongue to get what I wanted. Let's put it that way. But not all the way. Actually, it's kind of amazing because I didn't really have to repeat. I didn't. I forced them to go back and read the records. I didn't repeat myself on that. But the fact that I even had to, at one point I did say to one guy, though, and I was, dead serious. I explained exactly why. I was very courteous the whole time. But sometimes I'm going to tell you right now, you know what I mean? Courtesy works all the time as long as the other person is doing what they should. And then you don't ever have to break courtesy. For example, look at the police, right? If they have to arrest someone and the person doesn't resist arrest, it all goes nicely, right? But if they have to arrest someone and that person decides that they're not going to, play along, then it's going to be a little bit, then the cops have to get a little bit more rough, don't they? Right? Okay? So the conversation is exactly the same way. So after I had explained to this agent why, why I wasn't going to go back over all the details, why I should not have to go back over all the details, because this has been I explained the whole thing very nicely and everything like that. And he said, oh, absolutely, I agree, da 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 da. 2 or 3, 4 questions later, then asked me to repeat the whole story because it'd be faster. And I said, are you deaf? I just explained exactly why I'm not going to do that, and I'm sure you agree. Now see, that's as courteous as you can be in a situation like that, really, while being frank. You know what I mean? I could have said, I'd never said, are you being deaf? I was just the most curt, direct route to it. I could have said, excuse me, I think I just already explained why. I could have done that, but no need for that. By the fourth contact with a company, you know what I mean? I don't need that. So, I mean, and I didn't get nasty beyond that. That wasn't the beginning of an explosion or anything like that. But that's the case with that. Anyway, so I'm glad I put that out. You know what? That's a point that I like to make all the time, because one thing I don't really like, and I'm sure the police feel the same way, because I bet you they have it happen to them all the time, where people see what they're doing and they're getting rough, and people go, look what the police did, and they don't look at what led to that. And now we know, everyone knows. I'm telling you right now. There's a guy I know here, and I know I have every confidence he would agree with me on this. Officer Herrera, who's in the South San Francisco Police Department, who's a cop that I don't know super well, but I think he's a good guy. I do. And I have no doubt, with all these police brutality incidents, where it's clear cut that the police did wrong, I think he would agree. You know what I mean? Even if, I don't know, maybe what the climate is, I don't know if he could say it. You know what I mean? Maybe sometimes it's I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, because that sounds like that's sketchy too, but it's not. What I'm saying is that sometimes you're in a climate where, you know what I mean? Who knows? I don't know how difficult it is for other police officers, even, you know what I mean, to speak out against police officers, even if it's not at the same department. You know what I mean? I could imagine, though, sometimes it depends. I mean, you know what I mean? I think it depends on the department. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. And I shouldn't have put too much emphasis on that, because the emphasis is that I know that he would agree with me on that. Absolutely. I have no doubt that when the police act wrong, he would agree that it's wrong, and that would be that. But he also knows, he has to know, because I know it exists, because it exists every time someone has to use some sort of force that's required in this situation that people don't acknowledge for that, and they use that to blame the other party. Anyway, so I'm glad I made that that point connect with my Comcast call today, because that's happened to me a lot in my life, and it pisses me off. I'll tell you that much right now. You cannot, you know what I mean? You can be as courteous as you can be, but that other person, it takes one person to fuck a situation up. One person to fuck a situation up. People say, oh, it takes two to tango. No, it doesn't. It doesn't take two to tango, honey. It takes one person to not cooperate to make a situation go fucked up, okay? I mean, I don't know why we're getting into this right now, but it's a worthy point, though. I will say that. It is a worthy point. So, anyway. All right. And I do have a good resolution to share for Comcast, but I'm going to hold off on that until it's absolutely certain, but it looks very, very good. I got good results, and I had a wonderful phone call with a guy today. In fact, I was on hold with him during the noon Angelus. Fantastic. So I'll be sharing that. And also, okay, different subject before I go. I just want to share how I felt today. I was sitting on the couch and I got a craving for fast food. And I messaged Coulter. I'm like, oh, I just saw an ad on TV. It looks really good. I think I'm gonna go to Subway and get a sandwich. But I I just ate really. I wasn't hungry. Excuse me. I hate when that happens. Trying to talk and like get that burp that holds you up a little bit. And so I messaged him and I told him about it. And God, I get blips of clarity. I get blips of clarity where I'm watching myself and I'm like, I feel like my old self again. And then boom. All right. Then I lose what I was talking about. Anyway, I didn't go get fast food. But I kept on saying, I said, I'm going to go get fast food. No, I'm not. Like literally just like that. Like boom. Said it, recanted. Said it, and then recanted again. And then like, as I couldn't decide what to do, I went all the way downstairs and then turned around and came back upstairs and stayed here. I was that indecisive about it today. I went to bed. I ate some fruit and I went to bed, and then I woke up and did this. Craziness. But I'm glad I didn't eat the fast food, though. Not that there's anything bad with well, there is something bad with fast food, isn't there? But it wouldn't be bad for me because I don't remember the last time I ate fast food. It's been over a year. I'm pretty damn sure. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, but I also was like, wait a minute. I don't want to eat fast food because I now have a craving to go do it. I was like, no. I don't really want to eat fast food because I like my own food anyway. So, anyway, I'm going to remind you all to brush your teeth, to floss, and to say your prayers. And I will see you in the next prayer video, yo. All right? Peace. I love you all, and good night. Bye-bye.